that pregame speech, Steph posted it on social before the game. So Steph was right there with him.
Right.
It looked to me like Steph's heart really wasn't in playing a basketball game last night. And it's impossible for me to gauge or judge just how that trickled down to the rest of the Warriors.
Right.
Were they really into playing a basketball game last night? You could argue that they were not.
Or maybe the Mavericks was more inspired to play a basketball game.
Possible. I don't know. I don't even know how to quantify this.
Correct.
I don't even like to speak about it because it's like an unspeakable tragedy that it's just hard to even relate to what those people are going through right now, the parents of those children. God bless them all. It stops me in my tracks. But the point is that they did play a basketball game, and maybe Golden State wasn't quite as into it. And so to your case, maybe they'll be full bore 100% into it, and they'll just make quick work of the Dallas Mavericks. But the Mavericks have some track record here because they were up by 19 in Game 2. They have to know that they kept losing third quarters in 1, 2, and 3, and I kept telling you about Luka. He's just got to play bigger. They have to play stronger in the third quarter. And the most impressive thing to me about last night for your Dallas Mavericks was there was obviously a bizarre rain delay. They had one earlier this year in that arena. But there was, it's leaking because it's raining cats and dogs outside, and it leaked down onto the floor, and it made it a little dangerous to be playing basketball. So I don't know how, what was it, maybe 15 minutes wait. And finally, here they went. And I thought it was going to be advantage visiting team because Dallas had to sit on the lead and maybe get a little tight on the lead. And yet, bam, here they came. And for the first time in this series, they didn't just win the third quarter, they dominated. They won 37-23.
Flip the script.
They flipped it. They went into the fourth quarter up 99-70 by 29 points. They increased a 14-point halftime lead by winning the third quarter by 15 points. No, 14. 15 at halftime, and they won the third by 14 points. So the point was, here they came, and both teams just sort of waved the white flag and said, let's just play our backups. And all of a sudden, Golden State's backups started playing. And it wasn't so much that it was Steph and Clay because it didn't have anything to do with Steph and Clay. It had everything to do with Kuminga and Moses Moody.
And Poole.
And here they came, and they roared all the way back. And what they end up winning the fourth quarter by 39-20. But that's how they made it a game. And they cut it to 8 with, what was it left? Maybe 3 minutes left. I wrote it down here. 3:23. They cut it to 8. And then Luka went down and got free for a dunk, and that was the end of that deal. And even though Steve Kerr finally put Steph and Clay back in the game, Draymond did not go back in the game. Looney did not go back in the game, but he did put them back in, just trying for a miracle. But in the end, it was a dominating performance by the Dallas Mavericks.
It was, Skip, but J. Kidd has to understand your backups are not Golden State because Jordan Poole can be a starter on most teams. Kuminga has started a lot of games for this team. So when you put your backups in there, you better understand what you're going up against with the opposing team's backup. Skip, you mentioned that you said, okay, in the third quarter, I need to see Luka give me something. He gave you a little something last night. He gave you 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists.
He did.
And you look at what they did. Skip, they was 8 of 13. That's the difference in the ball game. And all of a sudden, what did they start doing? They didn't settle. They drove the ball. Jalen Brunson says, I can get to the rim. Finney Smith says, I can get to the rim. That's what you should have done in game 2 when you had a 14, 15-point lead, which drive the basketball.
I'll buy that. Bonus. But you realize they had, in the third quarter, 4 players made 2 threes?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's 8 out of 13 threes to 3 of 8 for Golden State. So you beat them by 15 points from the three-point line just in the third quarter. That's the difference in the game, is you got to make your shots. And Luka wasn't great in the third quarter, but he was much better than he's been in the third quarter because he'd been next to nothing in the 3 previous.
And they out-rebounded them by 5 in the third quarter.
Did.
So, Skip, you saw that. Say that we had 2 guys. They had at least, 4 guys that make at least 2 threes in the third quarter. You saw the way they shot the 3 ball for the entirety of the game. You're willing to say that you believe they can do this for another 3 games?
They are capable.
Yeah, they're capable of doing it.
The shooters can shoot. And listen, Jalen Brunson is afraid of nobody.
Yeah.
In fact, there are times when, if I'm rooting against Dallas, that he scares me as much as Luka does, because when he gets it going, he can wheel and deal. He is whirling dervish in the paint where he gets to be unstoppable. How tall is he? 6'1" or
maybe?
And yet he plays like he's 6'10" in the post, because he's just whirling and wheeling and dealing up off the glass. The point is, they have guys who can shoot it. And your point about Bullock, the previous game he went 0 for 10, 0 for 7 from 3, and 0 for 1 from the free throw line. He had 0 points. Last night he makes 6 of 10 threes. Well, will that travel?
Yeah.
Will that travel to Golden State?
But Skip, normally guys play better, role players, especially look at Cleveland. Combined, they were 0 15, 0 12 from 3. And then last night, he only missed 1 shot. He was 2 or 3 from 3, 5 or 6 from the floor, when he had given you nothing. Well, I knew it was over when Neil Keeley hit a shot. When he hit a shot, because he couldn't even buy a basket. He had been 0 for the first 3 games, and all of a sudden he made 2 shots last night. I do not believe, Skip, the way they played last night, the way they shot the ball last night, the intensity. You don't, Skip, it's hard to go from losing the rebounding battle by 14 every single game to all of a sudden winning it, because it shows me a level of desperation that you played with that game that you didn't play with the previous 3 games. So what my instincts tells me the likelihood of they play with the same level of desperation in game 4 and move that and transfer that to a game 5 is not very good. I'm not willing to risk anything to say this is what they're going to do. So that's why I'm at 0.5% that they can make this a series. Now, if you want to say, well, I give them a better chance to maybe win a game, but to come all the way back, you say come all the way back. They don't got a LeBron and Kyrie, because it took something special. LeBron and Kyrie had to go get 41 apiece on the road.
They did.
And then LeBron had to come back home and give you another 41 piece with Kyrie giving you 27. And now we get a game 7, because now all of a sudden, Skip, all the pressure is on the home team. You're like, man, I cannot believe we had these jokers down 3-1, and here we are in a game 7. And you know, a game 7, that's what's so special about the NFL, because every playoff game is a game 7. There is no tomorrow. And so, no, they're not getting to a game 7. So get that thought out your head.
After you picked them to win a game.
I did, Skip, but I felt really good. I was like, I got Skip Butt in a barn now. We won game 2, and we're getting ready to go home for game 3. Ooh, we consolidate that win on the road. Now we're up 2-1. I'm sitting in the catbird seat, and they gagged.
They gagged. Of all the words you've uttered so far in this show, 2 words caught my ear, because they are the 2 operative words in this series. You talked about Dallas's uncontested threes.
Yes.
Uncontested threes. I am in shock watching this series. Dallas gets whatever it wants from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
It's in part because Luka can get into the paint anytime he wants.
And Jalen Brunson can break anybody down.
Anytime. And they're both pretty to very good at kick-out passes.
Yes.
Luka sometimes is good at just dribbling over to his left, and he just rises up at 6'7" and just, as they call it, a skip pass. After they named it after me, as you know, right?
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. And
you didn't pass. You a ball hog. How they gonna name something after you?
True. That is a good point, actually. That is exactly what my high school coach thought. But he'll just whip it completely across the defense, almost out of bounds, where somebody has to leap and catch it.
Right.
But they'll come down, and they're looking around like, nobody's out here.
Right.
I'm all alone. How many all alone threes did I see last night? Dozens of them.
Yes.
And I'm like, does Golden State play any kind of 3-point defense? Because it doesn't appear that. They'll pack the paint on Luka, and they'll say, no, you can't come in here, and he'll get in there anyway.
Right.
He'll bang into bodies, and he'll kick it out.
Right.
And Bullock will just be sitting out there all alone. Well, do you have the guts to stroke it? You know, just shoot it like you mean it?
Well, he did last night, and so did Finney Smith, because Finney Smith started 4-4 from the 3-point line.
Yep.
Yeah. I saw that last night, Skip, but what have you seen from the previous 3 games? These guys couldn't buy a consistent basket, even though they were uncontested, because remember, Skip, in game 2, they kept shooting the 3, even though they were missing them, and they said, well, they were really good looks.
Okay. I saw a first half in game 2, and then in the previous series, I saw 4 games, 3 in Dallas and 1 in Phoenix, in which this team shot the lights out.
They shot Utah out of the building.
They shot Utah out of the building, and they didn't even have Luka for a while.
Right.
They can flat out shoot it.
They can.
They got a bunch. Dinwiddie comes in, and you want to talk about no conscience, but the all-time green light no conscience is Bertans coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Once upon a time traded with Kawhi Leonard for George Hill to the Spurs. What? Robbery, all-time robbery. But the point, Bertans actually made the biggest shot last night because it finally gave them a lead they never even remotely relinquished.
Right.
But he'll just rise up and shoot it. And you talked about he hustled for a ball.
Yeah,
and
he had 5 rebounds last night.
And now somebody got through his head, Jason Kidd or somebody. Well, sometimes if they're out on it, if they're running at you, maybe you should just fake it and go, right? And he'll put it on the floor and get in the lane. He's only 6'9", right? He can do some things. So the point is, they have the shooters. Do they have the guts? Will their games travel? Because to me, what I would love to see, just because I'm just waiting. You know, it's been so long since we had a buzzer beater playoff game, since we had a down to the wire. I tweeted about last night. A lot of people were with me on, don't you miss how long has it been since we had a game that went to the wire? Right.
I mean, the Milwaukee Celtics is, for a couple of games, not that last game.
Yeah.
The Celtics and the Brooklyn Nets, they had a couple of games skipped. I mean, you can't get better than a spinning layup. You can't get better than that.
We had Ja have 2 chances to beat Golden State in game 1, so that came down to the wire. But there have been years when every time you turn on the TV, it goes to the wire, right? And this league has been accused for many years of they only play in the fourth quarter. Well, not in the playoff games, and unfortunately, not in a lot of these games. They don't play in the fourth quarter because they're on the bench because it's a rout.
Right.
Well, I don't want to see a rout in Game 5. I would love to see. Now I'm going to root for the Mavericks because I just root for. I want to see a good game. I want to see Golden State tested. I want to see them. Listen, Memphis tested them.
Boston going to give them a test. Boston going to give them more than a test.
You mean the Heat?
I mean, no, the Boston. No, I didn't mean the Heat. I said the Celtics.
The Heat is on tonight because they're going to go up 3-2.
No.
Huh?
I'm glad we got due on this one.
We got lots to do, and we're about to discuss that.